Let's go to work, 'cause I'm tripping. Gotta work on myself, 'cause I'm falling apart. Please wake me up, 'cause I'm slipping. Can't fight this feeling off no more. But I'm not going to give up and fall. Rise above it all, meet all my challenges and search for my strength. I defeat them all, I'm never ever gonna hide no more. I come to love myself again, yeah. For all the things I didn't know, the pain, the hurt, I let it go. I start to believe in myself and life will be sweet again, so sweet again. Above it all, meet all my challenges and search for my strength. I defeat them all, I never ever gonna hide no more. I come to love myself again, again. For all the things I didn't know, the pain, the hurt, I let it go, let it go. And I start to believe in myself, and life will be sweet again.
Try it. We're going to switch over here to live and we're going to see if we see me. Oh my God, it works. Oh, thank God. Thank God. Thank God. Only some of you will get that. Caw. Welcome everybody. Welcome everybody. Jack, you're literally under a bridge. I think that might be why. That's probably why they're like, you're like, how do you know I lived under a bridge? Says the dude under the bridge. It's a good move though. I'm going to give you 2 points out of 10 maybe for, trying to do it. But we actually have learned to incorporate this kind of energy into our jets. So we are equipped. Unfasten your seatbelts, ladies and gentlemen. There are no guarantees. You were heading into a world of sound and light. I don't even know if I'm muted, actually. To be honest, it could be that you don't even hear me. We'll see. I'm looking for some kind of... you're not... Oh, thank you, Merd Moth. Merd Moth, you're beautiful. Thank you, my darling, for letting me know that. It's wonderful. It's 11:11. Do you know where your car is? Do you? Do you even know what car is? Today is Cypher Monday, and... Y'all, I got a new book. It's called Ark of Baphomet. It is the story of Ka. It's the story of Origin. It's the story of the Titans. It's explaining to you the Oracle of mythology. Yes, I'm describing to you how mythology is an oracle, and it's only in this book. It's only in this book. We are talking 7 months of research, 18 live streams, which you saw parts of, were deep dives into different portions of what this book goes into. And it's a colossal read. I've got every review that's come in has been 5 stars until today. I had my first 4-star review, and it was from a guy that was like, yeah, I really liked it, but, I can only afford 4 stars right now. So 4, boom. And he hit the 4. And I still feel it because I think he's trying to I really want to be authentic. I don't want to give to everyone my 5 stars, right? I don't want to do that. Let the title fool you. This is some serious looking at the origins of our genetic code. I'm suggesting to you that there is a chimera used to spawn humanity. And this book actually explains that. It explains the science. It explains everything you'd like to call science, even that's related to why I think this is the case. After I wrote this book, I was out walking on top Grandfather Mountain, being led in a wonderful, wonderful childhood ritual by the effervescent Angela Morris, and we met a dog, a very, very large dog, like up to your navel when you're standing. Some of you short girls just ignore this, but man, up to your navel, like standing, this giant dog. And I was giving it some love, and I noticed that it had that 6th thumb really high up here, right? And that is polydactylism, a topic that's covered in the book Ark of Baphomet by James True, my 6th book. And that polydactylism is, I put forward, is actually proof that we came from a spawned species that literally had a limiter placed on itself every generation, and each generation lived for less time, and each generation is also a sort of a conglomerate salt of the mythology of how we got here, if that makes sense. Actually, how we got here. And so when we try and look forward, everything we need to see is behind us. Everything. This is why the Hebrew considered your past the future. Your what we call the past is in front of you. You see it all. You're like a ship. You're kind of going backwards through time in this way, but it wasn't backwards to them. It wasn't backwards at all. It was a cipher. And it's proof that not only were you spawned, but that any attempts to even explain this world as being made through either evolution or creationism are both really kind of flawed. Both of them are just as silly. And that because we have technology now, the technology that we have now has actually changed our relationship to cosmology itself. And the principles of a video game are, I do not think, fit underneath the umbrella of simulation theory. I think simulation theory is kind of for pussies, to be completely straight with you. But I think that the model of how things are spawned is a really big resonator of how we got here. The chicken and the egg, neither came first because they were spawned. It would be impossible for them not to be. And in order for us to install Adam, we have to spawn it from the seed of Enoch. And that story is as above and below because of the fractal cornucopia of reality, that the outermost portions have to touch the innermost portion at the same time. It's a fractal within a fractal, the snake eating the snake, and it's told in my new book, Ark of Baphomet. I typically don't think to push my book. I wish I did more because it's put a lot of time into it, but now's a great time to pick it up. You can do that. There's probably links. I'm not going to bore you with the rest of this as far as the sales pitch of it, but I think you really find this to be stimulating when it comes to understanding how and why we got here. It's also an audiobook. It's the very first time I've recorded an audio recording of a book. Lots of compliments on that. Even the dude that gave us 4 stars, he was like really enjoyed the fact that I was reading it. Found that to be very stimulating. I don't even know if it's a dude. Don't even know. It could be like, you, I am, who knows, right? Who knows? And that's the kind of energy we want, because the bridges that we built right now between us, the fact that trolls would be underneath there is kind of proof of what a kick-ass bridge we made. It is. And let's not walk across the bridge pretending to live in a world where there's no trolls. Let's teach our children what trolls smell like, what they look like, how fascinating they are, how important they are. And probably most of all, trolls are giving you an opportunity to compassionate, not to consent, but to compassionate. You can turn your electricity down to a state where a troll makes sense. And when you do that, you will see their entire world right now. And it gives you omniscience. Why? Because you have a lot more of electricity, which means that you can just outplasmicate their simulations. They are rendering the world. What will happen next? What will happen next? If I call this guy a name, I will elicit a reaction, right? That's a troll is simulating the world, and then he makes his bite. Now you, as the compassionator, can say, wow, this would be a great spot for a troll to hang out. Oh, look. There it is. Wow. I didn't even see it. I just suddenly knew, this would be a good spot for a troll to hang out. And you're watching the troll feed. You're watching the troll fish. And because you don't have expectation chemical tentacles, because you don't participate in emotional pedophilia, you actually can enjoy a world where the troll feeds on the same dock that you do. You actually find it kind of stimulating. You do. This is the rainbow of humanity. And it's going to express itself in all these different vibrations. And the more that we do not embrace these vibrations, regardless of how much better we think we are or how much more conscious we are, all the bullshit that we tell ourselves is really not in the face of embracing the weather. That the psychic weather, the paddles of the ether that slowly turn, ether actually turns. It actually slowly rotates. That those paddles of ether are giving you a chance to either say, I will not embrace the change of time. I will reject all that is evil and embrace all that is good. Or I will reject the paths of time and embrace all that is evil and reject all that is good. Both of these have this sinister relationship with that paddle. And so you will say, Thanksgiving is a holiday of capitalism or colonialism or whatever else. And you embracing that resistance, you're standing up against the wave and you're like, I cannot believe that this wave is crashing over me right now. And man, I do this too. Holy shit, I do this. You see one thing, the tentacles of your expectations of this person's behavior or of this event or of how sickening society finds you is a testament to your lack, not theirs. Your lack, not theirs. And that lack is not intrinsic to you. That lack comes from your tentacles wrapped around the expectations that you have on this person. Whether it be troll, saint, whatever, right? All of these are opportunities to compassionate beyond your depth and not consent. And you'll find that when you compassionate, you instantly have more electricity because you're like, hey, this is a raccoon. I'm dealing with an emotional raccoon. So who's at fault here? The emotional raccoon? Or me trying to put a bow tie on it? Trying to give it like a fork, right? Raccoon, if you could just please hold this fork and be civilized. And the raccoon is now gutting your cat. It's like chasing, and you're like, that raccoon is so bad. But which of you had more electricity to compassionate the other? Which of you had more electricity to simulate the other, right? This is the kind of radar that gets us to poke through the veil. And it's sticky, man. It's very weatherific, you know. I accustom it to Christmas music. Embracing Christmas music. I used to. I say used to because I'm practicing this magic right now as hard as I can. I used to get really, really sad when the Christmas music started. And really what I was doing was just dumping my battery. I was just like, oh God, I gotta dump this battery. And I was just like, man, this is so stupid. That way, a holiday, blah, 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 blah. All that is the alchemical magic of bah humbug. All of that is the alchemical magic that's in the ether. And for me to be there, I might as well be that dude that's out in the middle of the surf, telling all the surfers how stupid waves are. It's not only is it not going to find you flow state, but you're just going to die of exposure. So the kung fu master on the mat watches that weather and releases his expectations from that weather and begins to have fun. It's every moment removing those expectations that we're placing on things that shouldn't have our expectations, right? This happens every day. Okay, how did that end up there? That's the wrong thing. I just had this up. Hang on a sec. Let me see. Where is... I had the wrong slideshow up. No, there it is. It is there. It's just giving me an old one. That's cute. There we go. Okay, so what expectations do we have on what's to come? What are the expectations that we have that's happening right now? That's why I like this image, because it has your back to it. I really don't give a shit what we're going to develop or not develop. I really don't give a shit about how much we're going to either be winning or we're going to be suffering in the future. I really don't give a shit about those stories right now. This entire time I've been wasting myself over the nuance of finding fashion in the resistance of things. I believe most of our culture in our world has been built on the resistance of things that are happening. And so it turns out that the things that are happening are actually dictating our resistance by playing opposite. That simply by scaring someone, simply by scaring someone with a transhuman image, simply by scaring someone with a psyop like Antifa even, will cause everyone who opposes it to move exactly in the direction that someone wants. This is, if trolls had more budget, if trolls had better posture, they would look like that. It's the to doubt is to carve belief, to believe is to add to it. It's additive and subtractive art, and the art is plasma. And a long time ago, the people that took this seriously realized that the truth had nothing to do with it. I was late to figuring this out. It took me until, a year or two ago. I started talking about the comfort movement to even realize, wow, the good guys can't even use truth, is what I saw. That if you were truly a good guy, you would be the guy that's embracing the weather. You would be the guy that's understanding there's no fucking way that we are going to convince the ocean to please not flotsam and jetsam, to please stop its tide until the moment when we say do it. That is some of the highest expectational magic you can possibly imagine. And you end up draining most of your life force because you're trying to perpetuate that. This is why choosing of your battles is more about you and less about the battle itself. That even the objective morality is still going to be immoral if you end up dying of exposure from something that you believed in, when if you would have given it 40%, you could have found a new wave. Found a new wave to seek that flow state again. And you understand the whole time that where you are, where your assemblage point is, where your focus is where you're voting. Your life force is a currency that you're giving everything. And there's a huge faction that's like, we must expose Hollywood. If we were to give Hollywood more exposure, it would defeat Hollywood because Hollywood runs on exposure. The very psychic demon that we're convinced is the source of all our problems, that we are claiming here today that the way to defeat this is for all of us to point at it and to keep pointing and gawking again and again, because that's never happened before, and Hollywood's never seen anyone point and gawk at them or be shocked by them. And that's how it grows. And it doesn't grow because Hollywood is bad. It grows because we are looking for something to pour our energy into. We are trolling ourselves by insisting only human trafficking can occur if it's on a shipping container. We continue to insist only justice can be preserved if we vote for one of two colors. All of this is us, and you realize that if you're on the side of morality, you are no longer living in a matrix or a world of truth and falsity as being any kind of implementation to solve anything that's happening around you. And you can try and argue like I have, yeah, but if everyone just like really spoke from the truth, then we would have this. And then you slowly realize, because you gain enough ego, you gain enough consciousness, that holy shit, that's actually what's been happening this whole time. That every single one of us are rendering our own morality antenna stretched between our gonads, 7 different layers of I approve or I reject, and that all 7 layers of those are determining what we consider to be morally good at all times. The lowest troll, the shittiest attitude, the angriest raccoon are always making moral decisions based on the amount of electrical budget, plasma that they have to spend. And so we start to realize why we hate the rich. We hate the rich because we're seeing people that have more energy to compassionate, and it scares the shit out of us because they can out-simulate everything we do. The same way you could out-simulate a hungry raccoon. That you can dismiss all of your fears about him being a space reptilian. You can dismiss all of your fears about him being a double agent. You can dismiss all of your fears about him having rabies when you start to understand this looks like a raccoon that's just hungry. And so you stop calling him rude. You stop calling him a menace to society. And you start to understand, wow, I have electricity, he does not. The raccoon is here. I wonder if there's a transaction. And we resist these transactions because we're constantly under the assumption that electricity comes from outside of our source, outside of ourselves, and it doesn't. You collect it every day. You can collect it hunched over in a cube. You can collect it trying to troll on a message board. You can collect it by standing tall in your spine and saying, what am I going to commit myself to doing today? And every time you commit, you place yourself on a cross. You place yourself on a cross in front of witness to others, and you say, hello, everyone witnessing me on 5/5 in 2023 in the place called Providence, Rhode Island. I am pledging and promising to present something to you very dilating. And you know, right now, I'm committing and scribing that into the witness. I'm burning that, which means I am allowing myself to feel bad every day between now and 5/5 if I'm not working on this show, on this presentation. This is what commitment means. It means I bind myself to this spell. The spell of 5/5. And I step my psychic self inside it. I, James True, commit to be in Rhode Island on 5/5. Will you come join me? And that binds me now. If I don't show up, people are like, hey, that dude says things and he doesn't do them. He committed. All of this is spellcraft. Some of you are like, oh, the legal world's bad. We have to reject the legal world. But the legal world, that's where all the magic is, bitch. The deepest magic is going to be bound inside a sheet of paper, committed with your name on it. And cowards don't write books. Cowards don't sign their name to laws. Cowards say, I don't want my name on the lease. I don't want to co-sign. And when I say coward, I mean that in a judoic defense. It is good to be coward. Coward is to say, I fear the exchange of touching this filament. That's really all it means. And we can see the prana economy underneath all of this. Because if I was to not commit and say, I don't really care, I might write a book, I might not. You're not binding yourself to anything. If anything, you're binding yourself to, you should not commit to me on this. Everything is a spell, even the refusal to claim one. All of us are navigating and moving through this, and we've developed this casual world where we want, 60 days later, I want my money back. It's funny how we insist that the evil corporate people are doing this to us, and for years and years and years, if we slip on the ice in front of their building, we sue them for millions of dollars. And we are always like, yeah, stick it to them, stick it to them. We yell the fuck at Karen. We go in with our army of Karens and we insist. I know I used it. I know that there's literally bananas in the fucking blender, but I want my money back or else I'm going to tell people on social media. And I'm not even for corporations. I'm here to tell you that our behavior creates the environment that's around us all the time, around you all the time. And this is going to be very difficult for most of the listening audiences out there really to even admit. Because they're not here looking for that. They're looking for something else. They're looking for Cypher Monday. They're looking for an explanation or a reward for all the things that they just did. And at no point in time were they present. They were completing, right? I will complete my Thanksgiving dinner. I will complete my Black Friday shopping. And the reason why you find that pellet completion is because people cannot afford to be in the moment. That's where all the presence is. It's all there. And that moment can be in a room with a mad, angry raccoon as long as you have no expectations on that raccoon's behavior. You free up those electrons and they go elsewhere. You have an eye in the sky, a Horus. You have a spirit of the placenta in the sky that's still connected to you. It's looking out for you. And even reading my book and understanding Ka, you start to tap into more. Your antenna is now higher because I'm just telling you what Egypt said. You're just like, holy fuck. I didn't know that. And my answer to you is, yeah, I didn't know that either. I didn't know that either. But I had enough electricity the last year to put into these things and dig in. And now they're in a book. And you can have that book. What a sales pitch, right? What a sales pitch. I'll admit to anything that James is trying to get me to admit to. Oh, Shed Your Bear Named Bear. I think that's actually Sark's good at this. Sark's not the only one, but Sark's definitely pretty good with this. When you baptize yourself, whatever label it is, I was told that I'm committing a scam or I'm a fraudster or something. And I took that label and was just like really smeared it into my face. Gave myself a whole compress on it, like rubbed it in my skin and felt that. And it caused me to look at everything in my life that I do consider to be fraudulent and to take action energetically to cleanse it. And I think I could have only really heard that because I had enough electricity to wear the cloak of fraud and to benefit from its warmth. It's a whole new way of looking at these labels. It really is. It's a completely different way of looking at things. And when people call you those names, it's an opportunity. You may not be able to do it. Putting on that cloak is scary, man. It's scary. You may not have what it takes right now. You may be using it as an opportunity to commit suicide. To Harry carry yourself is actually a pretty profitable thing in the world of victimhood Olympics. That one could claim, I was wronged by this person, and go around toting these wounds or even false wounds. It wouldn't really matter. That's just a simple way of collecting electricity. You're walking through the village saying, look how I was wronged. Look how I was wronged. And you build a case. Don't look how I was wrong. Don't look how I was wrong. Don't, this is how Jesus saw the dude at the well, the blind dude at the well, right? Same thing. Exact same thing. Speaking of which, the Airship Flotilla is a Telegram group that you guys can join. And there's all kinds of things in there. Some of those things are just like, damn, look at what these guys are talking about in here. And some of you may even say, I'm going to have to... All right, we just found out that Christmas music was invented by the Jews. Okay, that's hilarious. Oh God, you guys are so vulgar. I love it. It's like this perfect little like VIP curtain, but it's not VIP. It's fantastic. It really is. I actually going to talk to you about some things. Let me see here if this should work. We already saw that yesterday. Sorry. I think I can skip this. What a show, though, huh? Come on. Skip it. Okay. Been having auditions this weekend. If you're wondering what that means, been auditioning the Vitriol Orchestra. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. I'm starting a Vitriol Orchestra. And the purpose of auditions is to elicit initiation. I need to bind people to joining the tenets of the Vitriol Orchestra. And I have to say these words very carefully. I'm still crafting how they need to feel. But I can't have hey, if anyone wants to just come and have fun and hang out and we'll call ourselves the Vitriol Orchestra. I can't actually have that. I want to create a circle where everyone is binded to the orchestra itself. The orchestra is Vitriol Orchestra, which means that we play music with vitriol. The vitriol and the strife that we encounter by planning an event, that strife is a plasmic force that we use to create beautiful music. So the Vitriol Orchestra, I hope you can see, is an alchemical band. The first of its kind. And one of the very first questions that I insist that people agree to is the principle of drama as a positive force. And the principle of having your neck on the line for a commitment that you bound yourself to for this group is actually a positive force. It will solicit growth. The dojo model that I started 2 years ago was a virtual Zoom model that we met in during COVID. We were meeting 5 times a week. And it was necessary at the time because of all the arrows that had been flung at us at once. And there was enough vitriol on the street to where we could simply meet in Zoom and discuss our stance and our position and our posture in the flood of that vitriol. The Vitriol Orchestra will do that same thing, except for we're not looking for a global eugenics program to motivate our song. We are looking instead to creating a show, a special kind of show to elicit dilation in anyone who's watching. and that the vitriol that we extract as being in the orchestra from this event is the stuff that makes us alchemically grow. So it's a change. We've stepped through a portal, and I'm introducing a change, and it's literally requires a lot of electricity from me to even pull this off. The drama fulfillment program is that we are here to be people. This is something that requires this puberty threshold. And many of you don't even know that this exists, but your consciousness has a kind of puberty. And that your consciousness will flower when it has enough electricity to flower. And we will not yell at flowers for not doing that. And the beast will become man, just as the consciousness will become actualized. The child will become the adult. The Vitriol Orchestra doesn't have room for children, for beasts, or for any kind of person that is not ready for consciousness to bloom. It can't be a group of watchers, because that's what our audience is for. And so we want you to be in the audience of the orchestra. If binding yourself to the vitriol of being in the orchestra is too much, we cannot talk you into this. We have to wait for you to cross the line. You're entering into a living, live dojo troupe that is looking for opportunities to alchemically grow. Me pledging myself to the audience on 5-5 is me placing myself on the line. I've delivered my own reputation on the block to be judged exclusively on 5-5. And during the hours of 3 until 11, maybe midnight, that slot of time will be an orchestrated show, display of how serious I was the entire time. This weekend, I assigned 9 interviews. I was booked for 9 interviews. 9 people wanted to audition for the orchestra. Out of those 9, 7 people made it to the audition. 1 barely made it to the audition. And my expectations of people was already not expecting everyone to show. I know how people flow. I know that when I used to, one of the reasons why I don't book guests anymore is because I just got really tired of being stood up. It was just, everybody's just in this, not everybody. Realize Radio is, and I just did a show with her, and she was just like spot on. It's like, you ready to go? All right, let's do it. It's like, so it's different audiences out there. But I'm looking for something to do more serious with what I bind myself to. I don't want to invest in a lot of speculation on stuff. I'd rather just deliver a cogent, dilating point in the simplest way possible. Much like I write, seriously, much like the style of my writing. I think you'll find that the style of my writing puts a lot of thought into how important and precious your time is, and that I only have a few sentences to really, really put you in your seat and say, hey, why don't you listen to this? That's a special skill. And so my reputation as someone like that is on the line in 5-5. And I'm really looking forward to it. If you guys want to buy 5-5, there are early bird tickets right now. You can get those on my site. I'm really hoping that the chat guys will actually do that, because I have now officially sold enough tickets to where I'm no longer freaking out that no one's going to come. And that was my first fear, was that, oh my God, no one's going to come, no one's going to come, no one's going to come. And I'm so happy to say, no, people are going to come. So that is like threshold 1 for me, James True, is like, okay, people are coming. But there's a very important second threshold, which is how many people are going to come. And the reason why the tickets are so much cheaper right now today is because the sooner you tell me if you're coming, or the sooner you tell me that you think your ticket is worthy of someone else coming, that you want to even contribute to the show, that the sooner you tell me that, the sooner I can unleash the power of the Vitriol Orchestra in a way that I think you're going to like. most of you guys don't know this about me, but I've been doing these things for a while. The 5-5 event won't actually be my first, and the only thing different is that I have more reach now to find people that want to help. Okay, wait a minute. Give me a sec, guys. I gotta figure out where this page is. I'm gonna do this. Over here. I knew I was on the wrong slide. I knew it. Okay, guys, I'm getting there. It pulled up the wrong slide. That's why I was like, why is that the old one? Here it is. I've been showing you guys last week. I was like, James, I'm pretty sure you made this. Okay, here we go. I appreciate you. Whoops. Let me do this one. Yeah, James, we can tell how serious you are about your show prep. Give me a break. This is live stream. And I've been interviewing. I've interviewed 9 people, or I had 9 appointments for interviews, and I basically had to put everyone on the spot and kind of like put them in the circle and ask them if they would agree. And it took a lot of ego. Some of them were fighting back, like, why are you being so serious, man? And like, hey, dude, I didn't know it was this time. Or, man, maybe you should just settle down. And I'm like, I can't. I don't want to settle down. I don't want to just chill and take it easy till 5-5. I don't. My name's on the poster. That was really hard to do. I had to put my name on a poster. Alchemically, that's a lot for me. And the moment I did that, I'm like, fuck. Now I'm bound to do something amazing. So if you want to join the orchestra, I need you to know that I expect you to bring it. I do. And you don't know this about me, but I used to travel the world in a troupe of performers. You're probably going to think I'm way too serious because I really want things done right. But I want things done right. And I know that the people in the orchestra who I want to be on the orchestra, I swear they're secretly thanking me. They're like, thank you, James. Because they're putting their name on the line too, because they may have a lot more electricity to bring to a creative event that has a stage like that. And if you show up and it's kind of lax, it's going to ruin the vibe for everyone. With all due respect, I'm not trying to bring any names up, but the person that we thought was billing, I could not let him on the orchestra because he could not commit. I need you to understand that I'm doing that with everybody. Everybody. If I can't bind you to that commitment, and yes, you can revoke your binding. I'm not a wizard that can control your magic for the rest of eternity. You can get to 3-1 and say, I unbind myself from this commitment, and you're either going to feel good or bad about that magic. I think it just depends on how you unbind yourself, right? That's all. Someone's going to say, my life has changed. I'm not going to be able to help this. That's you unbinding from the orchestra. You're like, I can't do this, but boy, it was fun while I'm lasting. So even unbinding isn't a sign of failure. I'm not here to say we have to succeed. I'm here to say we have to dilate the audience. And I know those are going to look a lot like the same. But if we don't have a dojo-esque attitude the whole time, if we're not growing individually by being exposed to the witness of each other, being called out and saying, dude, what's up with your behavior right now? I'm failing because I don't want to do this with people that aren't dojoing the whole time. I don't want to do it. Until I get a campground, this is the only way that I can teach these methods of dojo. This needs to be in a book. The entire methods of this way that we work on the mat needs to be written down. And this orchestra is going to get us there. It's very prankster-esque kind of atmosphere, but it has a hook. Your conductor, me, is serious about not showing his ass on 5-5. I have suffered, I don't even know if suffer is the right word. I've been exposed to some attacks from some pretty angry people about this. It's even more important that I get this right. It's even more important. And this thing that I'm telling you about all requires ego. It takes a lot of ego to create an orchestra, so much. And I'm not going to be able to do it being humble. I'm not going to be able to do it showing humility and just trying to work with everybody. That's not going to work. Some got so mad when they heard that I, James True, was referring to myself as a sensei in our dojo. People would say things like, well, anyone who calls himself a sensei is clearly not a sensei, which means they're telling you only a sensei that's given his authority to be a sensei from outside of himself is a true sensei. Which is amazing that people are out there saying, the way is to find an authority outside of yourself and wait for him to call you sensei. And that's how we have a bitch of fools. That's how we have this world where the victimhood Olympics is allowed to shine. It took a lot of courage for me to realize that in the last couple of years, as we're going through the dojo, I was the sensei because I was the only one in the group who had enough psychic authority with everyone else to literally say, stop. Your behavior is not what it seems. Your behavior is this instead of that. And just by seeding the group with a little bit of authenticity, people started to realize, holy fuck, I can be authentic here. The game is to be authentic. I'm not here to win virtue. I'm here to sharpen my ability to see where someone's at. And it turns into this whole other skill. It's a whole other medium of art. And the only way people could learn that medium of art is to literally have someone who's acting as sensei. Conductor of the orchestra, same kind of thing. The only difference is that we're performing on 5-5 in Rhode Island to a group of people that don't know your idiosyncrasies, that don't know all the things that we went through to get there, and frankly, don't care and should not care. They're there because I promised that they would be dilated. And I know how to dilate them, but it's going to require us as an orchestra working together in cohesion in a very precise kind of way. We are becoming a band. A band needs this. Someone posted this on Rockfin. I'm going through some weird stuff lately. So unfulfilled. I really am stuck in the matrix of boredom and low vibration. It's a work, home, net, work, home, net. I need a change, and I don't know what to do. And that was like yesterday. This is why we're forming the Vitriol Orchestra. This is why we're having an event in 5-5. I want us to have a campground because we already have one. We started the Bertare Ranch, which is a great program. But we ourselves, the vitriolic players, are going to eventually grow enough sets, enough things to do that we're going to need our own space to put these on. Traveling is the most expensive part of building some of the things that I've built. It's actually such an expensive part that most of the time it makes what we do unsustainable from a traveling standpoint. It's just too much. Before I explain more, I would really like to give a shout out to Realize Radio. Human Vibration, which is just a great voice over on Instagram, and I think she's still on Twitter. I say think because I think I actually saw a post where she said bye Twitter, but I found that on Twitter, so so she is on Twitter. But what I mean is that I knew her from when she was really really sharp, smart thinker. I was completely blown away because I got to be honest, I kind of thought she thought I was an idiot, but she doesn't think I'm an idiot. We had a wonderful talk, and it was on Realize Radio podcast. And Realize Radio is a fantastic program. I highly recommend it. And Realize did something that no one else actually has done. Is when I asked them, "Hey, I realize that you are a paywall show, but I'm wondering if I could please give a copy of this show to my patrons." And she said yes. Which is just freaking amazing because I've been surprised by how many people have said no. They've been like, "No, this is our paywall," and I'm like, "Okay, sorry, just wanted to ask." And it's fine, by the way. Everyone should have their own policies, but it always touches me when someone does that. And this is, I hope you'll notice, one of the rare opportunities where I'm taking showtime to literally say, "This is a special bird. These are some special birds over there." So I really encourage you guys to check out this. I'm going to see if I can copy this link. No, and post it in the chat. No, I can't. Dang it. It could be that link. Maybe someone will write this down and put it in the chat. I'm sorry. The slideshow won't let me click on it. Oh, I hope someone will put that in there. It's also, I've got it linked on patrons. You guys have actually already seen this link. If you want to post this in there, that'd be great for the other people to see. But yeah, a great, yay, Realize Radio podcast. But I know I was in the middle point, but this is why I put things like that, because I wanted to make sure I said that. So the purpose of the audition is to elicit strife from a group to capitalize on the opportunity to growth. I already said that. And I just wanted you guys to know that this is actually not my first rodeo. That in 2014, in a desperate attempt to convince my wife at the time that even though she was a dragon, she was beautiful, I built my very first dragon. This is in my book, Spell of Six Dragons, by the way. I explain how this all started. But it was just a concept of how we could make this undulating dragon for Halloween. That's why it looks kind of spooky, is because it was a Halloween show. And I was trying to convince the promoter, who had never met me, that he should trust me enough to come build a dragon. And he did. It ended up getting happier because of the crew we had, but we made Dragonus Narcissus. And it was an exercise in really me just studying the whole narcissism realm. At that time, I was trying to insist that my wife was a narcissist, and like the psychosis, the psychology you see a lot of people go through there. And most of this in my book, it really taught me why I needed to label someone a narcissist. That I was labeling someone that because I wasn't really ready to embrace my responsibility in being attracted to someone who had those kinds of empathic jolts. I'll just say it's just a pattern, really. That me being attracted to that, me being so clung to that, was really the medicine that she was bringing me. And so the Dragonus Narcissus, even though it started out as an image of, this is why it's so beautiful, it started out as an image of an ugly, scary dragon, it ended up being this beautiful dragon. In fact, if you can see in the top, you'll see that one of its eyes is a vegetable strainer. And the reason why one of its eyes is a vegetable strainer is because in the truck on the way down to Florida, I made the dragon head at home. And I was bringing it already done. And it was a monster. It was as big as a truck, as the back of a truck. It was made out of these bamboo shoots. It looked wild and crazy. It was sort of a Rastafarian bamboo shoot dragon head. And on the way down, it started to, yes, a colander, that's right. And on the way down to Florida with this dragon head in the back of my truck, the worst rain you've ever seen hit. I wasn't worried because I had already built this dragon head to survive the rain. But it got so bad that I literally could not see out the back. And when I got down to around Macon, I pulled in for gas and the dragon head was gone. It was gone. It was like 6 weeks of work, stitching the bamboo, weaving the lights, making so much work. And it was the Vitriol Orchestra right there and then. Not only was I so upset, not only was this supposed to be a proclamation to my wife to find me worthy of her torture. Really, I would just say that's what it was at the time. But that medicine, that giant piece of medicine that I built, that I put in so much stress to make sure that I could bring, was gone. Been washed away in the rainstorm. Right as I came over, I'm pretty sure the Continental Divide. I think that's probably when it happened. And so I was showing up empty-handed. And it was the very first lesson in the Vitriol Orchestra. And it was just me. It was just me. Ended up creating the head that you see now out of tomato hoops, vegetable strainers. I took some volunteers out and we gathered as much sumac as we could to give it the red shoots, which were originally painted. We found some yellow. We just tried to incorporate as much colors as we could to fit the timeline. And when I delivered it, I figured, oh man, I feel bad for the promoter that like trusted me to do this. That's what I was thinking. Because to me, it was a failure. It wasn't, that head was a failure at the time. I hadn't learned to alchemize such a big loss. And the dude, his name was Andrew, was like, man, he called me up and I was like, hey, he was like, yeah, I'd just like to call and debrief all my artists. And I was like, yeah. And I was sort of waiting for it. And he was like, can you do it again? Can you do another Dragon Force? And I was like, yeah, man. Are you sure? Yeah. And so I built another dragon. The next one I made was Dragonus Banshee. And the idea was these two dragons were going to be wrapped on stage, where one dragon looked to the center of the stage, the other dragon looked to the center stage, but both dragons had a fan inside their head that blew streamers like hair out of the back of their head. And I built it with a this little variable speed device here. So I could tune the speed of the streamers coming out of their hair based on the song, right? So as the bands played, you could have these points where they would like shoot out with like wild puffs of air. And that was Dragonus Banshee. It was the second one. I couldn't believe that they wanted a second dragon. I was just like, wow, what a miracle. They wanted a second dragon. And when I made this dragon, I had the worst flu I've ever had. If the flu is real, whatever that is, the worst detox, I don't care what you call it, but people know the word flu, so I'm going to use it. And people in the comments, oh, I'm going to tell Voldemort. But I had the worst flu of my life. I could not lift my head. It was in the middle of winter. Massive rain hit in the festival. It was all ice and mud. If it wasn't for my crew, there's no way those dragons would have made it up on the stage post. I could not physically stand up. I could direct, I could wire things, but I could not stand up. There's no way I could climb the scaffolding and hang those heads. I don't even have pictures from it because I literally spent all the music was just like the most painful sounds I could hear because they were hitting my car. It was somewhere in Illinois or something. Indiana, Ohio, somewhere. It was my second dragon, and it was still painful. There was a lot of pain about just the vitriol of it all. But we finished it. We did it, and it was great. It was great. I'm really proud that I made it. I'm really proud that I didn't give up on that. Kind of going for this, kind of like one of the famous, my favorite page of an Aleister Crowley book is you open the book and there's a question mark on the left side and an exclamation point on the right side. And just like, that's all the book. If Aleister just would have just like published that book and nothing else, I would actually be telling you how amazing he is more. But he just kind of tends to go on and on and on. You could say that about me. That's fine. But that was just a joke, guys, the Voldemort. It's just funny. I can't help but laugh. I've never heard that before, and it just cracks me up. Please understand, it just cracks me up to say that. I think that she's not only is she an amazing woman with a lot of intellect, she's dynamic as fuck. I've been in the room with her. I've smelled her. She's a high grade witch with some serious banshee tendencies. And I mean all of these as a compliment. Like you want to be around that plasma and just watch that witchiness work. It is the most mesmerizing thing that you will see in the room compared to maybe some of your own favorite witches in your life. Because, all of these women are witches. And I mean that is a beautiful compliment. I think that's why so much healing comes from her, is because all that plasma is like, and it's fuck yeah, man. Get a chance to sit near that, do it. Do it. So that was the second one. And then we did Dragonus Flowerius. Now, actually, the name of this dragon was so pretentious. Someone on the crew named it. And if she's watching, I'm so sorry I'm calling that pretentious. But it just was. The energy that she brought was just more of like, I'm a worker of light. And there's darkness all around us, but it's like that kind of thing. And I was learning about this, but she was on our team and she was great, like very creative, by the way. Everyone on the team for the flower dragon was very creative. I just can't remember the name that she gave the dragon. And I feel like I'm not being fair because she got to name of the dragon, but it was like Ferenciankia Kodong. or just something like, oh, okay, like, all right, look, I get it. You like to play Dungeons and Dragons, but anyway. So this dragon was, again, they said, James, will you come build another dragon at Electric Forest? And I was like, wow, okay. And every time I get a larger crew, so every time I got to start to exercise these principles of dojo. And in this one, we basically you're looking at the same head, but we turned it more into a like this snake dragon kind of creature. And he did a lot at night. I know you can't see it from here, but inside his mouth were all like the bright red flower petals. It was really beautiful to see his tongue. There was actually a platform that you climb up on. You just can't see it in these pictures, but when you climb up on that platform, you actually look into his mouth and you see his form. Here's just a quick little video of the flower dragon. It kind of looks like Lisa Simpson sometimes too. But this was a pretty heavy project. It's suspended. It's got a lot of weight to it. It's a lot of work, is what I'm saying. It took a landscape team to do this, and it's just a cool little. Like I'm actually not super proud of this now. I look at it and I'm more thinking about the people that I made it with, if that makes sense. It was just like really fun build. You can kind of see the stairs here where you would climb up the steps and actually look right into the mouth of this dragon. We actually hadn't put its neck on right now, so it looks kind of lame because there's not the spines on the back of its neck. We had to wait because I didn't want to cut that vegetation until the very last minute. But you'll see that the ivy starts to form this it's a much bigger neck. I'm sorry, I'm critiquing my work right now. I should just shut up. But yeah, we made that with a crew, and that time I was healthy. It was like my favorite dragon to make because I felt good. My crew was awesome. We got everything that we wanted done, and I actually could just enjoy myself. So I got better, right? On the third dragon, I gotten better. We almost got this one built, Gaia Dragonis. You could park a car in the middle of this. The idea is to make this earth couch that looks like a sleeping dragon, and the head is like a sort of like a plywood skull box that has a fog machine inside. So the fog would come out of its nose, and then its eyes would glow, and then you'd have these two eggs inside, just kind of lighting the atmosphere. But it was basically made out of sod scales, sculpted over a mulch bed. So it's like we were making a mound, basically, a dragon mound. And that mound would sort of be seating. You can kind of see the overhead here a little bit better, where those are basically just hay bales that are covered with either sod, or where you sit would be carpet to look like the dragon's body. This one did not get made yet. I'm actually pretty confident though that someone's going to say, "Holy shit, I want that." And then then we made our Hula Dragonis. You guys are still watching this? Okay, cool. Then we made the Hula Dragonis. This was another dragon in Florida. This was a much bigger. It might look the same, but it's actually much, much bigger. And I really wanted it to look like it was undulating out of the ground. So we suspended the whole neck, got this nice curl in its neck. It's suspended from guy wires. This thing's super heavy, super heavy. That bamboo is so heavy. And to not be able to see the guy wires took a lot of work. And that was a crew of 18. It took 18 of us to wrap this, to do this dragon. And the pipes are a lot bigger this time. It was a really, really fun project. That guy also lit up at night, and it breathed fire. It was covered in peacock feathers for the first day. Its head, so the peacock feathers looked like eyes staring at you. It also had much larger eyes that had their own animatronic light action to it. And then inside of this, it actually would puff and breathe smoke. It was a really, really nice looking dragon. And at night, it looked like this. It was so awesome. The fog machine, it spits. It's not a regular fog machine. It actually had a fan, a high-powered fan, so it would spit the fog out of its mouth. But it would make the whole head glow. These are just amazing colors. It was just blowing people's minds because I held the remote in my pocket. So I was purposely not ruining it. You know, the way you don't ruin it is you wait for 5 minutes and then you turn it on. right? And then you don't turn it on for 5 minutes. This is 2 steps forward, wait 15 minutes, guys. Incorporated in a dragon. That's the way you do it. Is you do it that way. This is the same dragon. There's a little cameo picture of me. It was just funny that worked out. That I was looking at the camera. I don't even know who took this picture, but I thought it was just, the timing was perfect. And it's all about crew, really. This is the Vitriol Orchestra before we had something called the Vitriol Orchestra. And most of this was dojo. I could tell you about all the personal shit that went on while we were building that dojo. And I can tell you about it because I loved it. It was my favorite part. Watching people fight and not owning their shit. It was just a beautiful atmosphere to go, hey guys, let's huddle up, let's stop. I'm not going to be able to huddle anyone up if they don't agree to join the Vitriol Orchestra. Because if they don't, they're gonna think, oh well, James saying huddle up, and I don't fucking care. And you're going to drain my energy as conductor because you're going to be sending that energy to me the whole time. And I may not have enough electricity to call a huddle. It takes a lot of fucking ego to run an orchestra, damn it. And I'm going to need people committed and bound to this because my name's on the fucking line. That's why. And I need the people that want to ride along to feel the same. You need to take it seriously because who knows where this will go. I don't know what our next project will be. I couldn't believe that there were 6 dragons. I built 6 dragons out of this. The 5th dragon was this one. It went to Miami. Some of you have seen that in the intro. It's just we took that same head motor, that concept, and mounted it to something more sustainable, like something you could climb on, basically. Not that I wanted people to climb on it, but I wanted it to be strong enough in case people climbed on it. We actually had a saddle at the event on the back of that so people could take pictures riding a dragon. It was really, really neat. And then we built the mothership. I wanted something where people could sit down more. And the Gaia Dragonis, people weren't into the idea of me renting a bulldozer and doing an earth mound, which is why I want land. But in the meantime, they still wanted me to bring things. So I made a proposal for the mothership, and me and a crew built this mothership. And it has fog machines on the 3 feet, so it looks like it just landed. And it plays music so it's like a disco thing. There's a disco mode basically where the lights change and it plays a little disco thing. And because of budget lacks, we weren't able to complete the couches. I didn't even include that because the budget wasn't enough. But I really wanted to have round couches here so that you could be sitting underneath this thing, looking up at it, listening to the disco basically. So I call this a dragon, even though it's not really one. When does the talk about ciphers begin? It doesn't, Jack. I've told you to prune my lips literally every day on this show. Why are you walking into things expecting things to be served to you, by the way? Have you thought about that? This is your vitriol, Jack. You're having to watch something that isn't a cipher. Oh my God. I've been so disappointed. I'm going to go and complain about how disappointed I am. And this is another shot of the mothership. Looks pretty good. Pretty happy about that. Yeah, a skate rink would be awesome. How much are tickets today? Tickets today are $88. They went up from $77, and today they are $88. And it's a great time to get those. As I said, the more people buy these now, the better we can really, really decide exactly what we're going to do. Because I can go intimate. I have enough tickets now to create an intimate show, and I have enough tickets now to create an intimate show that also features a GA kind of component where the intimate VIPs are there, but there's also one part, this ceremony, which I'm not going to talk about because I'm not ready to put myself on the hook yet. It's going to depend if we sell tickets, but that this other larger ceremony could be incorporated if I sell enough tickets now. So I would definitely encourage if I can convince you at all of my commitment to really try and dilate you. I hope it's just seeing these things and maybe you'll consider giving it a shot. Damn it, I can't get my copy paste to work, but I really need to get that ticket link in here, so I'm just going to take another second and try it again. I've for some reason when I stream, I lose the ability to copy and paste. It's a new phenomenon. Paste. Whew, there we go. Okay. That should be the ticket link in there. There are only a few left at this level, by the way. When I say a few, I want to say it's under 40 It's in the 30s, I think, although I don't know how many are sold when you're hearing this, so it's not a lot. Yeah. And if anyone wants to buy a miracle ticket, what does that mean? Is some people want to come and they want to help with the crew, but they just don't live in the world of money. And so if you want, you can buy a miracle ticket. We've actually had 4 miracle tickets purchased so far. So yeah, it's funny. We're actually speaking in ciphers right now, but Jake doesn't get it. That's probably my favorite part about all this. But yeah, drama fulfillment program. We're gonna have to. Did it snap back to the old one? Hang on a second. I think there's another thing I want to show you. Escape. No, we're good. The other thing I want to show you is a talk about Elon, not actually just Elon Musk, but you'll notice that there's been a lot of sell-offs lately that look like people are just kind of being dumb, and they're not. But actually, I'll do a whole show on that next time. It's only a little vitriol. Yeah, he hasn't even gotten vitriol. That's what's so sad about it, is that our trolls don't even have an appetite for it. It's really awful. If Jack would come to Dojo, if he could hang, man, there's where you can be a troll. That's your best place to be a troll. It really is. It's fabulous. Thoth and raccoon marriage. 5-5. Interesting. So, Vitriol Orchestra will probably be practicing every full moon. I'm actually going to be announcing who our chairs are in the orchestra, the first chairs, on the full moon of December 7th, I believe. It's the full moon. I just can't remember if it was the number 7. I'm going to look it up right now to tell you that. But that's when we're announcing first chairs. If you're interested in being on the orchestra, I'm just going to ask you to please find a way to hook up with us before that day if you want to be a chair. If you don't want to be a first chair, you don't have to do anything by December 7th. But if you want to be a first chair, I'm going to need you on board by, this thing doesn't tell me, by December 6th, 7th. Oh, thank you, Raina. It is December 7th, according to Raina. So we will have an announcement for the first chairs then. Like I said, 7 people have already. I've got 1 appointment today. I've got a couple more this week. So I'm purposely not telling you how to apply for the orchestra. I do not want you to apply for the orchestra having never visited my website or never seen anything else. But if you buy a ticket, that'll show you. But I don't want people like Jack just hanging out right in the parking lot. I don't mind Jack driving his car, but where I'm showing you to get the Vitriol Orchestra is this. It's more of an underground thing. It's going to require people to display a certain amount of electricity. That's all. So we have to. The more it's funny, but the more you cater to the group, the more the group becomes like the witness just increases. It's weird, but it's true. That's actually why in Dojo I was like, you have to come for an hour and a half. You have to be on time. You have to leave. It's the only way I could secrete and consecrate the witness. It's literally the only way. Same thing with the guy that I said, no, I'm not going to do it. Put him on point. Can you commit to this? I'm a man of my word. Okay, so that means no. If you're a man of your word, that means you're not willing to commit. I don't fucking need that. So if you're a man of your word, and although actually I don't even make you say write anything, but on video you're telling the rest of the group that you've committed. So that is a man of your word. Yeah, because your word is being recorded on video. Gotcha. So it is. Yeah. If you can be a man of your word, then we'd love to have you. If you can't, then don't come. Actually, come. We'll just watch me smell you out, and we'll figure it out quick. If I offended anyone this weekend on auditions, it's my job as conductor. It's okay. I think I'm going to burn some bridges, even inside our group, even with my own patrons. I think it's going to be necessary for me to burn some bridges to keep the orchestra tight. I really am doing all of this under the impression that the people in the orchestra, the way I see them, they will be like, fuck yes, James, we fucking nailed this. We are so tight. Holy shit, look how awesome this group is. That's what I'm going for. And I don't mind sacrificing people that are not really wanting to commit to get there. I did the same thing with Dojo. So it's really just the same thing. I want you guys to know that the Vitriol Orchestra is not the entirety of who I am. I still have this live stream to do, my latest book, Arc of Baphomet. A lot of this material I think you'll actually find in this dilation ritual in 5.5, but also you'll be finding a lot more because the Eye of Ra is next. And I can only do that thanks to the help of my patrons. I just really want to give a shout out. You guys, the only thing keeping me through during this last attack, right? We lost 52 subscribers last week because of some weird posts. I just thank you. Thank you. We've left the harbor of the comfort movement. We have sailed our voyage of the Dawn Treader out past the gates of Gibraltar. And my God, the ocean is here. It is with us. And we are going. I'm freaking loving this journey, and I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for being here, all of you. Thank you so much for trying to troll. Jack, I got to admit, pretty shitty job trolling. We've had some pretty good trolls in here. I'm not going to say you're the worst because that would be sort of an honor, but you really could have brought some more. So work on that, okay? We'll see you guys later. Show Wednesday. Airship on Wednesday night. I recommend everyone coming. If you remember, Airship is going to be some orchestra stuff, but it's not. When the orchestra's formed, it will have its own thing. So if you want to come for witness, if you have a question, if you can build courage up and say, hey, I'm going to come, then come to the Airship Wednesday. It's a very open-ended atmosphere. You can come late, you can leave early. I can leave early. All of us can. It's a very different vibe. Vitriol Orchestra, a little bit different. We are setting the drum beats there, right, Dylan? We are pounding some cool stuff. So. Right on. All right, guys. Thank you much. If I didn't read most of what Jack said, so if I've totally misconstrued him, welcome to the vitriol. There you go. But like I said, I typically just have to grab words and see what it is. I'm just curious. As a question makes you troll who wouldn't understand stuff. Laugh my ass off. That's nothing to troll about that. Although I don't actually think you really laughed your ass off when you typed that. I will say that. I just don't think that. A lot of people, when they're like, laugh my ass off, they're really like, they're actually not really laughing. But that's okay. James can't handle with Jack. Lulz, just kidding. Yeah, I can't handle it. I just haven't stopped enough to see. So, but yeah, good luck, man. Whichever it is. Guys, it's a beautiful bridge. Why would we not want trolls? And if this guy isn't a troll, we should get trolls. Can some of you guys go out and find us some trolls? Because it's nice to have trolls. Remember the troll last week? It was great. Yeah. We'll see you guys next time. Do you guys hear music? I don't hear music. Tell me if you hear music. So I'm saying that when you hear Christmas music, lean in. Like, I know this sounds very counterintuitive, but I want you to lean in and start singing and laugh at the fact that there's nothing you can do about this giant wave that's hitting you. Remember when you were a kid? Remember when you were a kid and you were in the ocean and you turned your back and you just knew that something was coming that was outside of your control? And so you spread your arms and you just waited for it to happen, and it made you laugh. It didn't bring you stress. It didn't bring you pain. It made you laugh. And Christmas music is that wave. So's Black Friday. So's Cyber Monday. All of it is that wave. Embrace it. You will not be steered astray. You will only find more electricity. Have a great day.